Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haziq Daniel bin Muhammad Zalaluddin Yuzaini. I'm going to talk about introduction and our objective. Groundwater flow may be regarded as the stream flow, a portion that's permeated in the soil which is discharging into the stream channel into spring and drainage water at given time period. In the underground, water significantly under the volcanic eruption of underwater under the saturation area generated by the groundwater heat expansion. There are materials that affect the groundwater, such as rock, whereas the rock properties that affect the groundwater is aquifer and porosity. Aquifer divided by two, one is confined and one is unconfined. Confined aquifer can be defined as a groundwater that is trapped below the layer of clay, such as clay or rock, while for the unconfined aquifer is a layer that is not trapped, which is closer to the Earth's surface. Our objective is to determine the method of characterize the groundwater aquifer, and another one is to determine the groundwater flow aquifer characteristic measurement and the flow model calibration.
Hi doctor, I'm Adrian T. I'd like to present about the method one, which is multi-tracer test. So what is multi-tracer test? Tracer testing is defined as a test that injecting a tracers into the subsurface aquifers to determine the underground water flow and storage properties. So what is tracers? The tracers are usually a radioactive substances or chemical compounds which added to injected or infiltration fluid to determine the subsurface conditions. So the purpose of tracer test is to determine groundwater flow rates, underground effective porosities, intra-aquifers hydraulic communication, and flow directions. So the procedures to carry out test is the ground need to be drilled up until subsurface aquifers to construct a groundwater wells, and second is the tracer is injected into one of the well and the presence of tracers at another wells in the vicinities need to be monitored. So the tools and material used. The first one is digging tool, tracers, construction tools for development of well, and last one is injection string. So the table at the below is the advantages and limitations of the multi-tracer test. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nuraina binti Muhammad. My metric number is AF180072. I will explain to you about the piezometer method in hydraulic head measurement. First and foremost, the introduction is the hydraulic head used to analyze groundwater flow, quantify aquifer features, and calibrate flow models. Water table depths in a groundwater well can be used to determine it, and the piezometer is a device that measures the amounts of pressure. Next is the method and the material. The component used to measure the hydrostatic gradient. First, the screen. Next, the water level piezometer tube. And at the right of the screen, you can see the depth in heavy line, and the left is water level in the heavy crossbar. Method. First, the piezometer inserted into the vessel to the various depths, and the water in all the piezometer will rise to the same level, which is the same as the water level in the vessel. And because the hydraulic head is measured at the open end of the piezometer in the water, this exercise demonstrates that the hydraulic head is the same everywhere, that the hydraulic head measured in open and of the piezometer is equal to the elevation. Next, the discussion. A fluid moves from where the total head is higher to the lower. From an ideal fluid, the total head remains constant when there is no flow. There is a difference from top to bottom in hydraulic head because of draining from the bottom. The water will flow downhill owing to the difference in head, also known as the hydraulic gradient. Thank you.
So my name is Yao Chen. Now I'm gonna continue present about the method to measure the groundwater flow. So the method is Aquavision Collider Borescope. So Aquavision Collider Borescope is an instrument to determine the flow direction and the flow velocity of the groundwater. So it has a high intensity backlight, high resolution video camera, and optical magnifier to capture a clear video of the groundwater flow. So it contains a flux wav electronic compass component to detect the direction of flow, and the information received by the computer software and analyze the flow of the groundwater. So the instrument tools and apparatus are Borescope probe, optional reel, camera control unit, laptop, and Aqualight software. So the advantages for this instrument is easy to be carried and move because it's small in size and light compared to other instruments, and this instrument does not pollute the groundwater, and the battery can operate in different field environment and can measure deeper groundwater compared to the old version of the Borescope. And disadvantages is measurement results are affected on the wells that are sludge siltation, difficult in positioning of the instrument, and this instrument able to measure the velocity and direction only. Thank you. That's all for me.
Hi Doctor, my name is Lie Hui. So I'm going to present about summary, recommendations and conclusion. For a summary, there are three methods in our comprehension review, which are multi-tracer test, piezometer test, and aquavision's colloidal boroscopes. In multi-tracer test, the testing procedure is selected based on the tracer test objective, and the interpretation maps were done with the considerations of uncertainty in the data. For the piezometer test, it is used to determine the hydraulic heads, which is a complicated process, as there might be a considerable inaccuracies even when the SOP are meticulously followed. For the aquavision's colloidal boroscopes, the advantage is small and light, which the groundwater velocity and the direction can be accurately determined directly in the real time. Next recommendation, the first realistic recommendation for the future study is repeat the testing few times. Next, increasing the installation of monitoring wheel. Fifth flow can be used in stacks or more flow, and conduct the test in many locations of the study area. Next, conduct the future study at the place that has prior reliable data. Next recommendation is all head need to be known as corresponding to a fixed reference elevation in every location they're going to test. GPS should be used. And the last realistic recommendation is the researcher should possess high operating skills. For conclusions, the measurements of groundwater flow plays a crucial part in the hydrology fields, as it is a source of drinking water, public use, and irrigation uses, as well as the thermoelectric power industry. Every method and the techniques has its own advantage and disadvantage, and the method should be used according to the requirements, conditions, and the available equipment and the knowledge. So that's all for my part. Thank you.